Good morning everyone and welcome to the Achaibo Clinical Research Q&A calls. I am Bea, assistant to Tengu, and I will be working with you in the background to assist you with all things related to the Achaibo online training program. So before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items so you know what we're going to do in today's event. On your screens, you'll see participant interface where you can see the microphone and the video icons, the participant list, chat reactions, or emoticons. Please click on the participants list so that you'll be able to raise your hand when you have questions or experiencing technical issues. We have everybody else automatically muted so that we don't hear background noises as others join in. You will have the opportunity to submit text questions to us by typing your questions in the Q&A box. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. We will collect this and address them during the Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. You could also raise your hand by pressing the hand button and we'll have you unmuted before you speak up for your questions. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Tengu muna, the founder and the CEO of Achaibo Clinical and the creator of our online course, The Ultimate Clinical Research Toolbox.
Bea, thank you so much. Bea is our amazing support staff, always helpful during the webinar. We usually have one other person, but she's not feeling too well today. Welcome, everybody. Happy Wednesday. And my goodness, the week goes by so quickly. And I see that some of you are already here. And I know we always have more people joining. Elizabeth, hello. Not sure what you're doing on this call because you've already signed up and I have coaching with you next week, but I'm glad you're here. Okay, just so you know, you are already with us and you're getting VIP treatment. And if you want to stay on and listen, Elizabeth, no problem. Okay, enough about Elizabeth. So I see that there are more people, Richard, Sarah, Talbert, and everybody. So if I don't call your name, it's fine. I just want to say hello as more people are joining. We just went through housekeeping and it's going to be a really good call. I love the fact that every week we change it up a little bit so you can feel inspired. We can talk about clinical trials, but you know, we always want to make sure that we're giving you the technical aspects of clinical trials, but also inspire you so you can go out there during your day and you know and feel like you matter and you're making a difference in your community or just in your own life. So I just introduced Bea. And I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, just so you can understand why I'm so passionate about innovating and modernizing the clinical trial space in Africa and in the diaspora. I'll talk about that. I'm going to talk about why this industry is unique and how it can really transform your life the way that it has mine. And of course, I'll talk about our services. Then we have a Q&A session. But before that, I always go through a surprise inspiration. I always prepare something special for all of you. And like I said before, so you can really feel like you matter and that you are, your dreams can come true, your desires can come true, whether it's in the context of the clinical trials industry, which I think everybody should be in it, or elsewhere. Okay, so that said, welcome again. I'm Tengu. I know some of you are repeats on this call, but I've been in the industry for 18 plus years. And I basically came in at the very low level. I was at when I say low, I mean like the entry level, right? And I worked my way up over these 18 plus years to the global level, being a global trials manager. I worked a lot with thought leaders and great, I would say, principal investigators, but just think about all the top medical facilities in the world and the great physicians that they have that contribute to the writing up of protocols and process for clinical trials. And I've really focused more on emerging markets and now really targeting our own continent and beyond. And I will explain why I'm really passionate about that coming up. So for those of you who don't really understand how the clinical trials industry works, I'm in clinical trials operations. Hence, I have the knowledge and the expertise to guide pretty much anyone in all things clinical trials. So I'm really lucky that I was able to get into the operations side, which gives one a 360 view of everything that gets run. So we basically are the ones who, once our wonderful scientists have created a product, a molecule, and tested it, maybe they do some animal testing or they run some modules on a computer, some algorithms on a computer, and then however that happens, They now hand it over to us, and then we are responsible for building a whole plan on how we're going to run the trial, who's going to participate, who are the departments that will be involved, from safety, pharmacovigilance, clinical scientists, IP, investigational product managers, vendors. So we run, what do we need to run this clinical trial? And so we bring all these people in, and then we run the trial, we select the countries, and then we eventually take it to regulatory submission. So it's the one department that does all things clinical trials. Okay. So I had the opportunity to work with small and large sponsors and across various therapeutic areas. At least I keep forgetting to count. I have to start counting what's on my, on my CV. It's a lot. It's from drugs to devices to biologics. But the wonderful thing in operations is that it doesn't really matter what the product is. It's the same formula on how to manage it and submit it. There might be little nuances here and there, but we have a blueprint and we follow that blueprint. And it doesn't matter whether it's at the project level, the program level, the portfolio level. Clinical operations are pretty much run the same. So, but what I'm passionate about, in addition to, submitting products to the regulatory bodies and hoping that they're approved, what I was very passionate about was coaching and mentoring study teams and sites. And so I spent a lot of time when I was managing projects globally, really working with people on an individual basis, collaborations, working with clinical research sites and study teams, and really mentoring and coaching them so that we can have the success that we need. The other thing that I really enjoyed was that I organized a lot of audits. And in clinical trials, we do have audits, we do have inspections, because it's a highly regulated industry, right? You're testing an article and you really want to make sure that people are actually safe while this article is being tested. So one of the processes that are interwoven into clinical trials is these audits. And from the audits, I basically would create best practice, and then we'll take those best practices and apply them to the current global trial and then to consequent trials. And so this whole company and what I'm doing right now really came from these best practices, things that we noticed, how new clinical research professionals struggle because they don't really have any form of training or coaching. They have the technical aspects. They do take the regulatory, they take regulatory courses, right, that govern clinical trials. But the savoir-faire, the day-to-day running, really an issue. And of course, new principal investigators and clinical research sites. So those are some of the things that have really contributed to help us serve you in the way that we are right now. Online and off-marketing tools, my favorite. You'll be amazed, right? You think that running a clinical trial, what are you really marketing? You are marketing, you're marketing your product, even though it's still a test article, you're marketing it to the sites and saying, listen, we have to test this product. Are you on board? And, how can we work with you? But out of that, just something simple as we'll create a name for the product, right? Because you always want to keep it confidential, like the JUMP study or the ALIGN study, the ALIGN study, right? That comes from all of us working together to create that. We create a logo, we create the color for it, and then based on that, we now create all the study tools across the globe. And here is what is so interesting. A color here in the States might not be what people in Japan want. Maybe there is a certain color that means something different there. So you really have to make sure that whatever we're branding and whatever we're marketing actually matches all the different countries, right? Like I know for a fact that in Africa, we love our bright colors. Right? When there was just one study that we managed in Tanzania, and this was a women's study for an IUD, and we basically had here it was more blue, like matte blue and orange colors, but when we took it to these two hospitals, we made the blue pop, the orange brighter, right? Because that's us, we want bright colors. So that's really what you want to think about. So Achaibo Clinical came about in so many ways. I had another company that was doing mostly coaching and setting up clinical research sites in the US and in Canada and a few places around the world. But while I was doing that, this is what I came to realize, okay, before I get into this unique industry. And I'll touch on this later. Just there are not a lot of us in this industry. And it's not because anybody is keeping us out. It's just that clinical operations is something that is really, really complex. It involves a lot. And for some reason, we are not in it as we used to, and also the principal investigators. And so if you have people who don't look like us selecting clinical research sites, and managing things and hiring people, obviously we're going to have less of people of African descent, or in these clinical trials, right? And so there is a real big push now to make sure that we have more clinical research professionals, more clinical research sites that reflect the diversity across the globe. And I will get into that. So before segueing here, more people are joining. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Super excited that you're all here. And if you're following, you just want to wave, say hello. You can interact with your fellow panelists. Hello. Elizabeth, I see you again. So Yusuf is here. I see that. Hey, Yusuf. Great. Okay. Let's keep going. I see all of you you're engaging, and it's so fantastic. What makes this industry unique is just simple, right? I mean, it's what we're doing is we're researching. Where clinical trials are there for research investigations where people volunteer. So we're going to test a new product, and it could be an intervention or it can be a test. But here's the cool part: it is done to prevent, to detect, to treat, or manage various diseases or medical conditions, right? And so we have some of the clinical trials. There are so many words. You can say it's an investigation, it's a clinical trial, it's a clinical study. We just say studies in general. I mean, if you want to, in the industry, the word studies is used a lot, right? And you can also use that to see how people respond to a new intervention and what side effects might occur. So let me talk about this idea of preventing, detecting, treating, and managing, because I really want your mind to expand. Think about the number of products out there that are just to prevent something, right? I mean, there's certain products that we take to prevent something from actually happening. There are products that we take to detect something, whether it's a diagnostic tool or whatever it is, right? It's to detect and then to treat. The majority, I find, of clinical trials are to treat a specific condition. But the hope is that as we're moving more and more and we're becoming more technologically advanced, and we're understanding the human body more, we're going to focus more on the prevention part, right? But right now, clinical trials are all about detecting, treating, managing. Okay, managing applies a lot to the very rare conditions, the oncology, and you have an incurable condition, and you would need certain products. You might not be cured from the disease, right? But we have to manage it. Okay, so that's what this industry is unique in a nutshell because of what it does, but it is across the globe. I mean, as we sit here, do you know how many clinical trials are being run across this planet? I mean, it's just thousands. So the potential is huge. And what is so wonderful is that, which I will get to, it's a skill set that can be used anywhere in the world, any place, anytime. If you can speak that language, you can use that skill set there. So what makes this so wonderful is this: we now have this movement to decentralize clinical trials. It has been going on for a while, but there's a bigger push now because you really don't want to they say don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? I mean, we know that saying, there's nothing new. Just at a very micro level, right? Let me just say this. Say I'm running a clinical trial in Nigeria, okay? I'm just saying Nigeria because, they're my neighbors, so I usually call Nigeria because it's easy, right? But let me just say I'm running a clinical trial in Nigeria, right? And I have maybe 5 sites in Abuja, in Abuja, and 1 site in Lagos. Okay. If I put all my eggs in one basket, I'm only going to use majority of my patients who come from 1 site in Abuja, and then maybe the rest of the facilities will have like maybe 5%, and maybe Lagos has like maybe 4% or something, or less than that. That's a problem because you never want all your patients to come from one data set from one facility. Now let's go down to a macro level. Globally, you want to make sure that the trial that you're running, no one country holds all the patients hostages. First of all, cost-wise, that's a nightmare, right? I mean, when we run trials in so many different countries, the cost is different. And so pharmaceutical companies now go to those countries where the cost is less and the risk is less. Okay, so that's really important. So decentralization is key right now, and it's good for us because there is a push to run more clinical trials on our continent, and I will get into some other things regarding that. But there was a big push, okay? Um, which is, and when I say there's a push, I'm talking about on a daily basis, clients saying we need more sites, we need more clinical research facilities. How many people can you train, to actually get on board? Because I'm the only one doing this right now, and so it is quite a task, right? And of course, globalization, same thing, right? We live in a global, they say we live in a global world. It doesn't just mean that, you can go on YouTube and, look at a video from anywhere in the world. What it really means is that you're living in a world where you want to make sure that different countries and different continents within a certain sector or industry have the same innovations, and they're modernized in the same way. That's really one. So that's what's happening in clinical trials. You can even see right now with this push to send COVID vaccines to quote unquote less developed, low income. That's a term that I really don't use, but we see it right in articles, because it's not just that is just happening, right? It's not just that, oh, we're just going to help people. It's actually, it all has to do with the fact that the level of income in this world is changing. There is a new middle class popping up in Africa, in South America. I mean, there is just this new level of awareness that people are having, and everybody typically has a cell phone now. Everybody has, I mean, a lot of people have computers or have access to one. And so the awareness of what people are capable of, and this is really important, right? The awareness of what you're capable of. Before, if you didn't know what was going on around the world, you were just aware of your neighborhood, right? Oh yeah, I mean, if you happen to travel, fine. But as humans are evolving and we are growing, and this industry is a very innovative industry. It's always at the forefront of technology and everything. And so what is happening is that people are more aware of things that are going on all over, right? And so before, in the US or Canada and the Western countries, they would get the best vaccines, and then the side ones might be sent to another place. But now people are actually getting the best articles and the best products all over the world. So these are things that you want to pay attention to. So globalization is something that we want to take advantage of, right? And then so this segues into transferable skills. You absolutely want to have a skill that can be used anywhere in the world. And clinical trials management is a skill set that can be used anywhere in the world, which means that if I'm living in Nairobi and I want to go abroad and do an internship or work, or maybe move abroad, right, to any country, and I have this skill set, whether I'm a clinical research associate or I'm a principal investigator, or I've been working at a clinical research facility, whatever it is, you can go and get a job in that country and you will be fine. So you're going to be going there already with a skill set that you can use there. Because like I said before, clinical trials are run the same way everywhere in the world. The regulatory laws might be a little bit different, and for certain types of studies, there might be certain nuances, like pediatric studies, the age might be different from one country to another, but the operations piece is the same thing. So that's something that you really want to think about. And just within your own country, I mean, it also, of course, will open you up to new opportunities. And I'll get into that, right? I mean, maybe I'm living, I'm in Bamako, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I would love to go live in Dakar, but I don't have a skill. I mean, I got to go look for a job and stuff. But when you have this, you can just go to the next country and say, okay, great. I can apply. I'm going to look for any clinical research opportunities, and I will join that. I will get back into the same thing that I'm doing. So it's really awesome that way. So this is what got me a little bit ticked off, right? This map. And it's a little bit behind. I think it's like 10 years behind, because I got it from clinicaltrials.gov. And it tells you the places where clinical trials are not at least run. And for me, it pissed me off a little bit, I have to say. I'll say pissed off, because I said to myself, well, now, I'm traveling the world, dealing with people. Most times I might be the only person who looks like this in a room. And yet we have a continent and a population full of people who are incredible and who are intelligent. And so there was no reason why this should be happening. But what changed for me was that I thought this was opportunity. Back then, I was just training sites here, setting them up, consulting globally. And then this really got me going and saying, listen, it might be a daunting task, But the fact of the matter is that I did all this research and I realized that nobody's really training and coaching anybody. They're CROs, right? Clinical research organizations, all kinds of organizations. And what is so funny is that, and I do speak with them because I get called a lot for partnerships, and they would say, "Oh, you're doing this. No, we don't do that. But do you want to partner up with us? Then when you get facilities now, then we can actually work with them." And I don't really, because I'll go into that. We have silent partners who have created a massive database that is global, it's modernized, it's specifically there to help Africans to become to this level. So there's no need for that. But I just want you to understand that it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to put ourselves on this map and start looking like this. Get to the orange and red zone. We can do that. I mean, these other countries have done it. The last time I checked, people are not being trucked in from Mars, right? We are we are all humans, right? So it can be done. Then think about this. We have the largest phenotype and genotype. We have over 3 million variants. And I think there's more. I mean, that's what can be found, right? That's just the research that has been done in the blood samples and the DNA analysis says there are over 3 million variants on the African continent and beyond. People of African descent, have all of that. There's more, but that's it. And think about the fact that, you go to your pharmacy and you're buying all these products. Wow, oh, I have a headache. I'll go buy whatever, Panadol, whatever you're getting, right? But that product was not tested on you, right? I mean, it might be the placebo effect, right? It's good because it's the placebo effect, but it really was not tested on you, right? But here's the thing. When we have this type of phenotype and genotype, we're the cradle of civilization. And so it's easier for pharmaceutical companies and research institutions to come in and really run all these global trials and then use that data and use the product anywhere in the world, because we already have all of the variety that they need. And so if you're thinking to yourself, but it's a test article, just let me back up a little bit. So clinical trials are happening in phases, and you can read on this. We have phase 1. Well, there's a bit of a phase 0 now that is being pushed where they have like maybe 5 to 10 patients. I won't get into that. In some cases that happens, but it's just phase 1 through phase 4. Phase 1 to 3, it's obvious. You start in a small set of patients. You're looking mostly at safety, not so much efficacy. You've heard about those projects, where people go spend the night in a little facility. They're testing a product. They run a lot of samples because you want to understand, how is it ADME, right? How is it being absorbed? How is it being digested? How is it being metabolized and excreted? You want to understand that and then see what some of the effects are, right? So you have that phase 1. And phase 2, you start going to those randomized type trials. Sometimes there are different cohorts or different groups. This group has, let's say, was studying, sweet potato versus cassava. As easy as that, right? These people will have cassava and sweet potato. This other group will have just cassava. Another group will have cassava and nothing, right? So you start, but you're slowly moving towards efficacy, right? Safety always, but of course in clinical trials in every phase we're looking at safety. Then you blow up and go to the phase 3 trials. Those tend to be the massive global trials, which I'm talking about. If you really think about it, the product has already been tested. I mean, it's already been run in all those small trials and then, a little bit larger. So by the time you get to phase 3, it's a global trial. But those are the types of trials that we are looking at. But then as we get better, as we get more and more involved, we'll slowly get into those early stage trials. And they tend to be for disease sets that are very important, really targeted diseases, right? So that's where we are. So I know some people say, but it's a test article. It's already been proven that it's safe. And so what has happened is that we now have only 2% of trials mostly run in South Africa. And I've noticed that it's very insular. I mean, I've run a lot of trials in South Africa. Globally, we always pick South Africa. And in that one rare case, I picked the 2 hospitals in Dar because we had some connections there, the company that was consulting at the time. Otherwise, and we had to train them, set them up. I mean, it was a nightmare, but we actually got it done. And so, and I think we had an offsite in in Mombasa. We had another site in Mombasa. But that's it, right? Mostly South Africa, and nobody in South Africa is taking the time to spread this across the whole continent, right? They're busy, enjoying this industry and reaping the benefits from it. Then we do have the least dollar spent in the clinical trial space. Let me get to the highly intelligent professionals. I mean, honestly, we're looking at a continent where people the health clinics, whether it's hospitals, they can live on very little. When we ran that study in the Tanzanian hospital or Dar es Salaam's hospitals, I learned a lot. I mean, originally, I mean, I'm from Cameroon in West Africa. That's where I was born. I'm now, adopted the US, but I learned a lot because there's some things that I'd forgotten. I'd forgotten what it's like to get into a hospital and, and have a headache and maybe nothing, you're admitted and there's certain medications that are not available, in how patients' charts are managed. I mean, it was very, I learned a lot. But what really got me was the intelligence and the way that people have to deal with such little and make so much out of it. And now, of course, it's changing. We're seeing, amazing clinics pop up, amazing hospitals, that are incredible facilities that are being built. But still, overall, we have to innovate our healthcare sector. And so, one thing that I might not have mentioned on previous calls is that this clinical trial sector is everything that brought the innovations in the US, for the US particularly. Okay. You can see it here. Literally, every hospital has a clinical trials department, and the revenue generated from that goes to the whole hospital. And they use that to do so much more. So it's an industry that can really modernize the healthcare sector. But at a smaller scale, you sitting on this call, whether you're a physician, pharmacist, nurse, you're already in clinical trials and you want to do something different, just by being in this industry and really helping, it's really a revolution because it's something that is helping you, it's helping patients, and it's really helping move healthcare on the African continent and beyond. So let me end there. Now, let me talk about what we do exactly. And hello, everyone. Some people are popping in, and I know it's the Wi-Fi connection that happens all the time. It's okay. We'll keep going, and then at the end, typically for those who want the recording, we do send it to them. Like especially they want to pop in and out, or if you arrive late. So what do we do? Our mission at Achaibo Clinical is we have several things that we're focused on, but the most important mission is adding the number of clinical research professionals and expanding the number of clinical research sites. So we have targeted programs that help clinical research professionals achieve their success in clinical trials management. That's what we do. And our mission, again, we want to expand facilities. We want to educate. We want to coach new and existing clinical research personnel on how to navigate this space. Because you don't know what you don't know, right? I mean, you can either get in and not have any idea about what you're doing. And when I say getting, I mean, that's another ballgame altogether. Or you want to have a place where you can actually get some information, use that information and do something different with your life. And my other big thing is expanding avenues of income. I cannot tell you how many conversations I've had with people saying, I don't want to depend on just the government for my income. I don't want to depend, right? I mean, when you have a skill set like this, then that's another avenue of income for you, which is really wonderful. And this income always does not really rely on the local government and all of that stuff. It relies more on the pharmaceutical companies around the world. It relies on the research institutions. And so you have access now to a global income stream, which is very important. And of course, I talked about expanding patient access to healthcare. So important. I mean, here and in Canada and in Japan and all these countries, people are so excited to participate in clinical trials. Enrollment is always easy because when a patient is in a clinical trial, they might find out things about themselves that they did not know. You're getting free tests, free diagnostics. You will have a clinician who's assigned to you. And so during that period, you get the best care. And that's really important, right? So our whole program is everything that we have here is always called the ultimate clinical research programs because they really are, right? I mean, this is over 18 years of experience working with various people, partners and things. So we've created something that can really benefit people. So we have hands-on training and then, and that is for how to conduct clinical trials or people want to advance their career. So we have programs that are tailored to meet your needs. And every program is different. We now create bundles for you as well, based on what your needs are. Okay. So the first one bundle that we have is the Ultimate Clinical Research Toolbox. Is a foundational course for anyone who wants to get into the industry, right? So the first people that usually take this course will be physicians, clinicians, medical doctors, and all of that for two reasons. One reason is that they want to set up a clinical research facility, department, or in their clinic, in their hospital, wherever they are. They actually want to set up a facility and run it. And then they want to now, have access to sponsors. So what we do is we train you, you meet with us, we coach you, train you, and then we have a global database, which I'll get into later, where we have clients and sponsors that go in there and then they actually select your site to run clinical trials. That's what they do once you're trained, right? Okay. The second way that physicians use this is that some of them want to get into the pharmaceutical company. There's a whole push to get more physicians into pharmaceuticals, and really have them really participate in clinical trials. They already have the background, so why not? And so we have a bundle that is also added to that where we show you how to apply. I mean, how do you get, with all this information that you have access to our, all our training and our network. How do you now go out there? What roles do you go for? How do you market yourself? Right? It's a very comprehensive mini course, and you just follow all the instructions, and it will show you with taking this information, and aligning it with your past experience, and that will allow for you to get into the industry as a researcher, physician, or a medical science liaison, whatever roles they are. So that's the first group. The second group is anybody else we're talking about. And then, of course, I forgot to mention pharmacists. So pharmacists are another group, right? That I know that you could be a sub-investigator. You could even run a clinical trial, right? Just based on the regulatory laws and where you are. So that also applies to pharmacists. If you are looking into setting up a clinical research site or you want to get a career in industry, that's something that you can also look at. Now, the other group that really uses this, we talk about the nurses and pretty much anybody else in the healthcare field, right? If you want to work at a clinical research facility, that's a good way to get into the industry. You get this training, you understand what it's about, and then you use that information that you have to work at a clinical research facility. So that's what this course. That's what the Ultimate Clinical Research Toolbox is. It's our foundational entry-level course. The second course that we have is the Ultimate Clinical Research Monitor Training Program, and it's a revamp of what was there before. So this is for people, the first group are the people who are already in the industry. You're in the industry and you maybe, or you work at a site, or, you do something else, but you're like, I want to be a CRA, because the CRA role is one of the most highly needed roles in the industry. Okay, so principal investigators are highly needed, and clinical research associates, study coordinators, you get it. Like, these are all the main roles because they manage a lot of the operations, right? So highly coveted. We have a really, it's really a good course. Excellent. I mean, I'm when I say good, I'm just like downplaying it because I was a CRA myself. And so let me put it this, when I got into the industry, I started, and then I got into this role. I went from the site to data management, and then I got into this role. And it's this role that allowed me to move up to where I am today, whatever you can call that. And so it is a role that is there to support the clinical research side. But this is what is so wonderful about this. When you're in operations, you pretty much get everything that has to do with running clinical research. But the program itself is really cool because it gives you, it's an 8-week. So all our programs we have, you have the online piece, which could vary from 6 weeks to 8 weeks. But then you have lifetime coaching with us every week, because that's really key, so that we can actually answer your questions and coach you to the success and encourage you to rise, not just the technical piece, so you can know exactly what to do. Now, the CRA course has everything you need to know about the CRA, but there are juicy bonuses in there. I'm not going to ruin it because Elizabeth is in it right now, but you get to the point where there are bonuses there. Then my favorite part, of course, is then how do you now market yourself? How do you now transform your resume, and what kind of companies do you apply for, and how do you interview and all of that stuff? So we give you the whole shebang, because our goal is to get you from where you are to where you want to be. We are not just we don't just give you programs to take and say, oh, well, you don't get any coaching. People need that. You can just have a program and then just take the program and we'll see you later. You want to, we really made sure that we have programs where you have that lifetime membership so you can actually get to where you want to get to. And there's no speculation, right? You do the work, you get the results. It's simple. So that's the ultimate clinical research monitor program. It's really for, I recommend it. If you're entry level in healthcare and you have no like clinical background. I do not have a clinical background, but that was different. I have my background is political sciences, but but nowadays to get in as quickly as possible, I recommend if you have a nursing background, any form of healthcare background, you absolutely want to take this course. Or you're even a pharmacist. If you were a pharmacist and you don't have any intention to set up run a clinical research site and you want to be a clinical research monitor, this would be the ideal course for you because you already have that background and it's a lot easier to merge this information with what you already have, right? That's always good. But of course, if you, I never say it's not possible. I always say that at the end of the day, right? I mean, it's all about what you believe in yourself. Like I said, for example, I don't have a clinical background. I just got this industry, worked on very complex projects with not having but I learned everything. The only difference is that you're going to learn everything, right? I mean, there were days when I would be sitting with, my clinicians and I would ask them questions, scientific, clinical questions, and that's what really helped me. So if you really think that, hey, you know what, I'm going to take this program and I'm going to do what I have to do. If you have maybe like a project management background, that's also a good one. Wherever you are, if you're doing a lot of project management, this is also a good course for you to get into. Now, I want to talk about the Achaibo Clinical Blue Cloud Network because this is so important. This network is created with silent partners, and it's a massive global network that has been around for a very long time, but it just never was there for African clinical research professionals. Again, so they approached me. It was wonderful. I went through a very robust Q and QC process with them, and now we're allowed to using Achaibo Clinical because they looked at all the training I was doing and all the facilities that were growing in. And so when you are part of the Blue Cloud Network and you come in, this is not for the clinical research associates. That's a whole different ballgame. This is for our foundational course, people who actually want to either be a clinical research physician, you want to work in a facility or manage a facility. And what we do is, in addition to our core program, you get added to that network. And then we now start, we need you to have clinics to affiliate with a clinic or a hospital. And that way we can now, help you to build that platform and then start giving you clinical trials to run. So again, it's a global network. The goal is to, instead of speculation, bring all African sites to that level, right? Bring them to that level. Okay, to the global level. That's what I mean. And it gives you access to standardized documents, access to sponsors around the world. It's also a highly regulated network. It's regulated by the FDA. I mean, the FDA is everywhere, by the way. There are many different regulatory authorities per country, but I have to tell you that the FDA has its hands in everything because most trials around the world are registered here in the United States. I mean, there are trials being run in different places because it's they have so much experience that people really try to benefit from that. Okay, so what are the benefits of being part of our programs? Again, like I said, nobody else is doing this. We are the only ones. And I don't say it in a way like, oh, we are the only ones, just because it's a daunting task. Like even when I got this, I always say we get messages, but it hit me that at least I have to do this. This is my lifetime commitment. I am not going to leave this planet and have all this knowledge and experience and not do something about it. And I noticed that, I was already, doing the same thing I'm doing, but focusing more on the West. And I said, absolutely not. It's not going to be easy. And the most challenging piece is already out the door, setting up all of these at the company and all of that. That was like years ago and that's done. But it's more now of how many more people can we train and set up and really help them get into this industry for life. So we have lifetime membership support. And I talked about, we have everything is online, your modules, because, people are busy. You can look at it. You can take training on your computer, your phone, but meeting with me and the team it happens once a week. And it's very important that you're present so that we can coach you one-on-one as well. So we have weekly coaching calls that are tailored per program. But then I want to talk about that success coaching because it's important. Life is really 99% inspiration and 1% perspiration. And in this case, the perspiration is the clinical trials knowledge, how to run them, how to manage them. The inspiration is that our programs are tailored in such a way that you get the mindset work. Because what I found in the past was that, setting up people, only focusing on the clinical trial aspect, yes, they were successful. Of course, it's technical knowledge, right? You do use it. But the ones who really took it to the next level, like I have a Dr. Fullan in Miami, who has this massive research facility. And the training that was offered to him, along with his staff and setting up, was blended with this inspiration, with some success work, how to think, right? How to think on a day-to-day basis. Because you might be studying something, but the mindset with which you're studying that thing is going to determine your success and level of achievement. Okay, so always remember that that's really where the work is. The actual clinical research, taking the training and all that stuff, that's not, you'll be successful, but it's what kind of success do you want? Do you want mediocre success, or do you want to take your life to the next level of success in the clinical trials industry? So that's why, again, lifetime membership support, and we give you mindset coaching. Every coaching call starts with the mindset coaching because it's really important. I talked about exponential income potential, and I really mean it. Speaking from experience, there's so many avenues. So you have operations, but once you get into the industry, you can end up working with the vendors, because once you're in operations, you have all the knowledge, right? So you can go work with vendors. I mean, you can go work with the technologically advanced aspects of the people who set up, all the databases, the people who bring new technologies to clinical trials. You can go work with a recruitment firm. So, I mean, it's just incredible what could actually happen. And then I also want us to have equal access to the clinical trial space globally. So now, before getting into the Q&A, let me talk about, and I just want to take a look here. Oh, good. We are right on time. I'm really happy about that. So everyone's still following. We will get to the Q&A shortly. Yay. But I hope you guys are still following and all is well. I know Elizabeth has a question. Elizabeth, no, you don't. You're just saying hi. I will get to you. And Elizabeth, just remember that you have me now one-on-one. So you don't need to be, you know, you have me next week and for the rest of life. So yeah. I also had to tell what's his name, that Samuel. I said, I always tell people, I'm like, hey, you don't need to come to these calls, but if you want to, because they're inspiring, right? You can attend. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. Some people attend every week because they always learn something new. So let me talk about this before proceeding. I So in addition to clinical research, the reason why I'm very big about the mindset work is because that's what really transformed my life and really brought me to a space where now I can actually do something and help and be of service in the way that I want to, because I had to do mind work, right? I mean, whenever we want to undertake something, it's there's always this programming that is in there that says, how are you going to do it? Honestly, I'm going to speak candidly. I got really, Tengu. So how are you gonna, you're doing fine here, you're consulting, you're training sites, now you're gonna point, to the African continent and Africans in the diaspora. How are you gonna do this? I mean, really. And I just took it one step at a time. And what I realized was that the real work was in my mind, really knowing that I can do this. If this has been done in other countries, we can do it too. And also knowing that I should give people permission because we are intelligent and highly skilled people. And we too are deserving of these resources. And it was just an overwhelming desire for me. I just could not help myself. I mean, I wake up every day and I think, how many more people can we get involved in clinical trials? That's all what I think about every single day. And it's so lovely. So I was writing down because I get up every morning in meditation. I mean, I get up at 4 and that is really how I start my day because it's quiet and I can really dive into my mind work and all of that stuff. And I was thinking this morning and I thought to myself, what is the grandest expression of who we are, right? I mean, you are the grandest expression of the universe in every moment. We have a vast universe. And in every single moment, change is constantly happening within everybody, whether it's your skin, from what I understand, the skin sheds over 5,000 cells, I mean, every day, and all the dust in your house, you should probably know that that's your skin shedding. But then how the cells, in your body are constantly transforming and doing things that we don't even know. That's in my body, right? I'm adjusting to the light, the photons in my eyes are adjusting to light. I mean, there's so much that is happening. But then in my own community, beyond what I have a family, people running and moving up and down, right? But that's all happening in the physical form. I see it. I can see that people are running, they're moving, life is transforming. But the true expression of the universe in every moment is beyond what you can actually see. And I talk about this every call because I really want people to understand it. Don't get so caught up with the physical aspect of your life. It is important. We need to be here. We need to be with family and really express ourselves physically. But two-thirds of you is non-physical. Okay, it really is. Doesn't matter whether you believe in a God or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Let's just say that you want to think about the fact that you have emotions, feelings. I mean, your desires, your thinking, all the thoughts that are constantly running through your mind, right? Those are all intangible things. And that's majority of your life. If you really think about it, those emotions, those thoughts, the way that you think, the way that you express yourself, that's more than the physical. And so the ultimate expression of the universe is every moment is tapping into that intangible aspect of yourself. Yes, the universe is expressing itself physically, but more of it is occurring in a way that you cannot see it. And so when you are undertaking something amazing, like a Herculean task, and by that I mean, I don't know if some of you have read the what's his name, Okonkwo. You remember? So somebody is going to say it. Just trying to right now. I just Chinyo Achebe's book, the trilogy. When the arrow of God is pointing at you, things are no longer at ease and they begin to fall apart. So it's one of them, right? So now I'm sure B is going, what? She looks funny. Anyway, he was an amazing Nigerian author. I mean, he's really awesome. I love his book. So I think about that Okonkwo, like the how grand he is and all of that stuff. So that's how we are. We are these grand beings in these physical bodies, and yet there is so much more to us. And so whatever you're doing in your life, you always want to remember that the greatness of you is coming from a part that you cannot see. And so what do you work on in order to really tap into this grand expression of the universe in every moment? You work on your emotions. When I get up in the morning, I tell myself today is going to be an amazing day. I'm going to help more people than I've ever helped before. But I tell myself this, I don't care what's happening. I don't care what challenges I face. I really do not. Like come what may, I'm going to focus on my emotions. Where am I today? How am I feeling? Right? Your emotions are very important. So that's one aspect of you. And then your dreams and desires, are you writing them down? You say you want to be more successful in the clinical trials industry. Did you write it down? Have you tapped into the ideas that are coming forth in your mind? I tell all clients, you got to have a journal. I just write stuff from my iPhone, my iPad. Journal. I've been journaling for over maybe 15 years now. And I'm just saying, remember that these expressions of the universe, they're happening in every moment. You have got to capture them. You always, if you have ideas that are coming through, write them. I write every single idea that comes through. All these programs, the success that we're having came through from a lot of the ideas that I got when I was post my meditation. So I know it's a little bit longer for us to get to the Q&A, but I really want to talk about this because people have been contacting me and just saying, hey, asking me more and more questions. You have got to tap into the aspect of yourself that you cannot see. However, whether it's through prayer, whatever works, right? There are affirmations, there are prayer, and you got to repeat it. It's not an easy walk, but you got to repeat it over and over and over again. And then one day you get up in the morning and you feel joyful. And remember, secondly, before diving into the Q&A, remember this. You have to believe things before you see them, right? So this expression of the universe, it's already happened. The greatness that you want, that movement, that next step that you want to take in your life, it has already happened. but you cannot actually feel it, see it, taste it, touch it, smell it, because why? You're having thoughts that no longer serve you. And so this is so important that when you're taking the next step in your life, you absolutely want to tap into that. So that's my inspiration for today. And we're going to now move into the Q&A section. But before we go into that, I will say thank all of you for actually listening to that. And I'm really happy that you're all here. So, questions. What do you guys have for me today? Oh, B, I did not make you a co host. No wonder. I always forget to do that. Okay. So, questions. Let me go to the Q&A. So, Kubeko. Uh, so, you know what? Answer. Let me B just type for Kubeko. Just tell him, give him the link to the Achaibo discovery call. And that's what we typically expect. Because it's, like I said, we have several programs and they're tailored to meet your needs. We have to meet with you. If you're interested in joining us, we will put the link. I know some of you have been on the call, so you already know what this is about. But at the end, B is going to put the link to both programs for you to register. But I think it's important that you actually meet with me so that we can know which program is best tailored for your needs. And if you already have a clinical research facility, you've already done clinical research training, then that's then right. So then there might be a whole different avenue for you. So please make sure that you do schedule one, Kubeko, and we will be super excited to help you. Okay. Anybody else? Sometimes I miss things. B, do I have anything in the chat box? Okay, perfect. Good. B has put the link. Please book a call. Let's see how we can help you. So quite a lot today. Anybody else? Any questions? We still have time. Huh? No questions. Wow. This is really good. It seems like you guys are getting the hang of things. So I'll talk about the next steps. I already mentioned it before. Okay, good. Let me talk about this. Book the call if you are interested. I noticed, and before the call, let me talk about this. Please, when you book a call with us and you cannot attend, please let us know. We are getting so busy and it's mind boggling to organize this. And so, down the road, we are, definitely looking at other people who can help us, take over some of these calls and help you. And that way we're running behind. There's going to come a time when we're not going to have availability for weeks. It's coming already. If you look at our schedule, our availability has completely changed because the more people joining, the more coaching calls happening. And so, I mean, so if you book it, then we have a reminder that we send 1 hour ahead to say, hey, are you going to attend? Please respond to it just to let us know. And if you're gonna cancel, just say, hey, I'm not going to be able to attend. There's no problem whatsoever. There's room for everyone. Because two people sent me messages yesterday and said they cannot book calls. And there were 2 calls where people did not attend. So it's like, really, I want to help everybody. My goodness, let's be aware, right? I'm here for you guys, but just work with me too. Just work with me, so we can really we want to be a force to reckon with. So we want to really make sure that we're bringing excellence. And this whole company, the way that it has been set up, and that's what really attracted our partners who were working with us to give us all the tools and resources we need. It is really all about excellence. Everything we do is really to make sure that you get all questions answered. Everything is very organized, the way that we onboard you. And so it's very important, so we want to help you. Please, 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 you're going to cancel, let me know, ping me, and I will respond to you. Okay, so you can email cs@achaiboclinical.com as well. Anytime, any questions, we're there for you. Now, if you're ready to join in the next 24 hours and you've heard about what we're doing, we have a 10% coupon code, which I'm excited about. And so it's my UCR TV coupon. B is going to post the links to both programs. Use it. and it's going to expire, I think, in the next 24 hours. So if you're ready, just go ahead and use it. The other thing is that I know, Elizabeth, you're gonna hear this. We just integrated PayPal because we always adapt. Everybody typically just comes in and they go to the website and they pay. But now we notice that people have the need for PayPal, and someone who just recently joined, and so we've now integrated PayPal. So moving forward, you don't have to go. We don't need to send you an invoice in PayPal. It's right there on the website, along now with the option to pay with whatever you want to pay with. So that is huge. We did it. We always react quickly so that we can make sure that there are no delays in what your needs are. So please, again, we are here for you, and keep sending us questions. If you want to be coming to these calls and if you want to feel inspired and tell people about us, because it's not so much about you joining the program. It's about, this is a place where I really want people to learn about research and to feel inspired, right? I mean, we don't often have forums where it's about learning clinical research and then really feeling like, I can do something better with my life, and I can be uplifted and learn something little, right? Like today, just knowing that you can get up every single day and practice being in an emotion that allows for you to move forward. The other thing I wanted a little trick that I just learned recently on one of my other, because I get coaching and leadership myself. So trust me, I'm constantly learning and growing so that I can bring more to all of you. And this is the one thing, when you have a task that you want to undertake, right? I mean, let's say you are thinking about joining clinical trials and you're not sure and all of that stuff. The recommendation is never to go do too much research, because I mean, your mind will just be going from left to right. You have to leave it. Forget about whatever it is that you want to do. Give it a day, give it 2 days, and then now go back to it. Okay, that's what I wanted to. Oh, that's something I also wanted to. This applies to any challenge you're having in your life. I know sometimes it's hard when something is staring us in the face, right? I mean, like right there. And so you want to just let it sit and then go back to it and then address it now, not from you looking at it. You want to address it from a third person, like, what would this, so your third person, what that means is that you can speak and say, what would Tengu think about this? Okay, I do that a lot, because then it removes you from the challenge that you're facing, right? It gives you permission to, because the way that we resolve things, by it's always distance and space. Remember, I talked about the universe coming through and giving you something new. So that distance, that space, your solutions in your life will come from the spaces that you provide, and the degree of the solution and the quickness and the rapid way it will come will be how much space you provide. It's just, that's, life happens in spaces, the amazing things, because when you're so crowded, nothing can happen, right? I mean, just think about it. You want to move through, a space, and there's the tables, there are chairs. How are you going to move through the space? When it's empty, you can move through easily. So that's something that you actually want to think about. Then ask yourself that, think of someone who has faced the same challenge and they've overcome it. It doesn't have to be a real person. Make it up. Say, somebody faced this. This is what they did. Imagine what they would do to resolve that challenge. Just imagine. It doesn't have to be real, because the mind is an interesting thing, right? You imagine that, and then you now start seeing the solutions come true. That's what you want to do. That's something I was going to leave you guys, which I think is very important. So that said, let me look at the chat if there are any more questions. I don't think that there are. Kennedy, yes. My training is recognized in the sense that it's this. The industry is very interesting. So you have good clinical practices. That's what's recognized. I mean, good clinical practices govern clinical trials globally. But any training program that you take anywhere, you will get your certificate. When you start going for interviews, Kennedy, that's like they say, what the proof is in the pudding, le secret dans la sauce, right? So it's the language and the way that you carry yourself that will move you forward. And so I have people who join us. They've taken all these good clinical practices courses. I mean, we even give those for free in our database. But they don't even know what goes on with clinical trials. So they're having a hard time actually moving forward. Yes, our program is recognized. In fact, at Tribal Clinical, we're working on having it because we now have two aspects. We have a Tribal Clinical's training courses, which have allowed us to be part of this global network. But now, because of the standards of what we're doing, we're getting a lot of people who want to do so many things. But yes, it is recognized, but the proof is in the pudding, Kennedy. And many times when we want to get into things, our mind starts asking us questions. What is this? Hey, is this recognized? This not all that stuff doesn't mean anything. Just your mind just asking you questions. It's just your mind's. This is how your mind works, right? Oh, Kennedy he's gonna do something new. No way. Kennedy, we are study nurses. We don't do stuff like that. So that's exactly what happened. So I understand your question. It's recognized, and we are there to help. It's not just the course that you take. We train you, we coach you, and then when you become a CRA, we continue to coach you and train you to success. And this course you're not going to find this course anywhere because everything that I do is based on experience, is based on consultations. I work with different people, I get feedback from them and my own experience, and that's what is in the course. So there are things that people don't talk about, but it will be in there. And when you come in and take this course, you're going to be more successful because when you actually become the CRA, you always have this program and you always have your coaching, and you're going to be more successful because you know the ins and outs, right? So that's it. So just remember that don't any program you want to take you guys out there, don't worry about whether it's recognized. It doesn't the clinical research industry, what we recognize are good clinical practices. Every company has a different way of training people, and you get your certificate at the end. But there is the FDA and every regulatory authority is a good clinical practice. And so this is an industry that is so wonderful because what I'm doing right now on the continent and all of that good stuff comes because we can do this and we now have the space to do it, right? And the more of you that we add, and the more of you who come from a tribal clinical, you're getting the best of the best, the more that your career is going to advance. Kennedy, does that answer your question? I hope it does. Oh, there you are. Please unmute yourself, Kennedy. Let me see if we answered everything.
Yes, you have answered my question. I'm very
Yes.
grateful.
Absolutely. Just
Thank you so much.
don't let your mind fool you. Don't let your mind, I'm serious. Do not let your mind fool you because let me tell you something. The mind is a very interesting thing. And the CRA program also, you are also getting mindset coaching. Every coaching call, you get mindset coaching each week of the program. So the program is only reviewed week per week. I'm sure that Elizabeth already knows that, but it's reviewed week per week. We don't just give you all the modules because the way that we're organized, we have to make sure that it's week by week. That way, you comprehend things, and we pay attention to what you're doing. But in every program, we weave in the mind work. We weave in, things that will help you, right? Make you not just study, but know that you too can do what other people are doing. You too can, you deserve success. And the other thing is that we are so behind in research. I was speaking to, I think it's Dr. Manal the other day, and she said, Tengu, what you're doing is amazing because we're so behind. Take advantage of these people, get in, be the pioneers. And that way you look back 5 years from now and you're at a global level. Like I said, when I got into research over it's been 18, 19 years, close to 20, I was, I had my poli-sci background, and you don't have to wait for 20 years, right? I mean, really, you don't have to. So we just give you everything that you need so you can move fast as quickly as possible and get to the global level. Okay, Kennedy, I look forward to you joining or booking a call with me. I would love that. Okay.
I will.
Sure. Okay. Thank you so much. I think that's it. I believe that's it. Oh, look at that. 3 minutes over the hour. That's fantastic. I want to thank every single one of you for joining today. I know you're all busy. Trust me. And with post-COVID now, we're all running around and trying to get things in place. But I want you to know that we are here for you. Do not hesitate to ask a question. Send me a message on LinkedIn. See us at Achaibo Clinical. Just send me a message and we're going to respond to your message. We're here for you guys, and we're here to make sure that you can reap the benefits of this industry and really take your life to the next level of success. And even if not, join the calls. Come get some additional information, know that you matter, and know that you too, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, right? You too can make a difference. You too can make a difference. You too can transform your life, but you just have to give yourself permission to do that. And so that's the most important thing. You The universe is expressing itself through you in every moment. But guess what? It's expressing itself not just in the physical, but also in the spaces in your life. And so always remember the most important things are your emotions, or your mind, the way that you see yourself, and how you understand that you matter in the world, right? The space that you occupy. No one's who ever taking nobody is going to come along who looks like you, thinks like you, acts like you in the next millennia, right? So you really want to remember that. And I think that especially for us, on the continent and the diaspora, we always have to remember that we are important. I keep saying it, clients keep saying, Tengu, I'm like, I'm doing my best here. I'm trying to get people on board. I'm training people. In the database, we've added so many facilities, but we haven't, it's going to be a while before it might take us 10 years to train all those facilities. But I want you to know there's a need. There's a need. But you have got to give yourself permission to be successful. You've got to tell yourself, I matter. It doesn't matter where I am. I matter. I too, in my corner, in where I am in the world, I can make a difference. I can transform other people's lives. And because of the step that I took, especially in this industry, I transformed the lives of so many patients. I expanded in a way that I never expected, right? So give yourself permission to be successful, to make a difference, and to know that you matter. And just the fact that you're breathing oxygen on this planet is important. Not that you're not just here to breathe oxygen, taking breath in, breath out, and yeah, I mean, you're here to take advantage of that expression of yourself that is non-physical, that is intangible, and bring that into the physical world, because that's what you're doing. You're using that to come into this world in a different way, and we are deserving of that. So yes, go out there, be brave, be bold, give yourself a mission to be successful, make a difference, be an innovator. And why not? There is a need for that. This program is for those kinds of people, by the way. This is not one of those things where you're going to come in and we love people who want to make a difference, who love success, who claim who they are. So yes, that's what we are here for. Okay. You guys go out there, be amazing, be great, keep tapping into your success. And I will talk to you guys next week. Or if you choose to join us, yay, come have more. There's more of this, right? I mean, you're going to get more of what you get every Wednesday, right? You're getting a little drip of what we do. Okay. So thank you guys once again. Thank you, Bea. I mean, guys, Bea is such a strong support person, and I'm very, very grateful for what she does for us every week. So thank you, Bea, again for all the support that you provide, for making all our coaching and everything possible. Okay, you guys, I have enjoyed all of you being here, and I am truly happy that you joined. And again, we'll see you next week. Come join us. Okay. Bye. Take care.